There must be some kind of way out of here, said a joker to the thief. There's too much confusion, I can't get no relief.
Welcome to episode 8 of The Game Plan Online. My name is Nick Dillon, this is Paul Mitchell, and our special guest today is Cobdogla's A-grade coach Steve DeJager. Welcome, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
G'day, Steve. Great to have you on board, mate. Firstly, mate, just tell us a little bit what's happening down in Cobby at the moment, and obviously the wins aren't coming at the moment, but things still positive down there.
Oh yeah, definitely positive. It's the only way to stay, really. Unfortunately, we don't have the wins on the board, but good bunch of lads that are still pushing, as hard as they can and put up as much of the competition as we can.
Yeah, and we spoke about it off the air before, but how difficult is it for Cobdogla to compete with some of the bigger money paying clubs at the moment, because Cobby's hardly forking out a cent at the moment, especially compared to the bigger ones.
Yeah, it is difficult. I mean, because it's such a small town as well. Not taking it away from other clubs that ain't very big, but Cobby's just basically a small town that rely on a lot of people that come out for the love of the game. A lot of mates that hang around each other and want to play for each other pretty much. So, and they're quite happy to stick it out as much as they can.
You've Steve, you've moved up here with no previous knowledge or not much knowledge of the local footy scene. How do you see the long-term survival, I guess, of the independent competition and how it runs alongside the A-grade competition up here?
I think it is a bit of an eye-opener, no doubt about it. The independents, when I first came up here with my sons playing, it was a pretty strong competition back then, and it's sort of dwindling off a little bit now, but it's really sort of being the township it is. Everybody pretty much sticks together and wants to make it successful as much as possible. It's certainly different where like you said, you've got teams that are paying a lot of players, and trying to compete with that is certainly a lot different. It makes it hard for the littler clubs like us. They've been successful in the past over the last few years, but unfortunately, with no money or income or anything like that coming into the town, it makes it hard to keep players around. So it's just basically mates playing for mates.
Is it? I'll probably ask both you fellas. Is it sustainable, this trend that we're seeing at the moment? Do you think?
As in the paying of the players?
Yeah. I mean, I was involved as a coach back, talking 10 years ago or so now. So things have obviously changed a lot since I was involved back in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, I don't think it's sustainable. No, I mean, at Paringa we're paying one player this year, and that's the first time we've done that under me. I think it's been done previously, but I don't think it's sustainable in the long run. You look at Rooks, obviously paid some money in the past couple of years, which has been great to keep them alive. They weren't going to survive, but eventually that money's got to run out and it's got to be replaced somewhere, or the players are just got to start playing for the love of it again.
That's right.
That's what you're saying, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And that's what it's all about. Especially being an independent league. We're not the big six, that's for sure, but it's basically the love of football which makes it keep it going, I think.
I guess the good thing you got on your side is you got a lot of young kids in the side, and they just love their football. So what's it been like to coach a group of really, well, the majority of them are really quite young, aren't they?
Oh yeah, we've got quite a few young lads, especially ones that have stepped up from the Colts, and after playing for the Colts at Cobby, they went over to Barmera just to play their age group, and decided to come back, and it's sort of a learning curve for them, and it's trying to get that building process back up and make them enjoy their football in the independent league. So it's it's sort of hard work, but you get there in the end. Wonka were the same a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Pretty much building up their team again, and been quite successful on the off season and came into their own last year. Unfortunately, we thought they'd be a bit of a benchmark this year, but things have been a bit different all around, I think, for all the independent clubs.
How's your numbers at the moment, Steve?
Yeah, they're not too bad. I mean, we average probably about half a dozen to 15 on the track each week. And then it's just the guys that are travelling up from Adelaide. We've copped a lot of injuries at the moment again, same as scenarios last year, but we just keep plodding along pretty much. Good thing is we're able to fill the side each week, which is the main thing.
Yeah, that's right. Once it goes under, not that we want that to happen, but once it goes under, I mean, Lurp's been the exception to the rule, but
they came back well.
But when a team goes under or a club goes under, it's really difficult to get it back running again, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's certainly hard to build a squad back up. Yeah, that's for sure.
So how do you go about recruiting players for future years now? Are you looking now, or are you waiting to the end of the year to really try and bolster the side?
We'd certainly be looking around now. It's basically a word of mouth thing for our clubbers. The guys are enjoying it, and basically they'll tell their mates and go on from there. So that's what we rely on pretty much. So, and we certainly don't refuse anybody that comes along, that's for sure. For sure.
And it is a club with a pretty proud history, isn't it? And it wasn't so long ago that the team was up the top and won a few flags in a row. And me and Mitch were involved around that time as well. And Cobby were quite formidable. You'd rock up down to Cobby and you knew you were in for a ripping game. And is there any chance of getting some of those older fellas back at the club? Because there's still quite a few around.
There is, but a lot of guys are getting on in age, sort of thing, and they're feeling it in their bones a little bit more. So it's just a matter of going back to the source and seeing if we can dig deep and hopefully con a few blokes and come back out for a run. But it's just a matter of time will tell, pretty much.
With the Colts competition being as it is, and how many games are played every week? One maybe?
1, 2 at the most, yeah.
And we're talking to Steve, and he's not the only club in that position, but I can see the points system being a barrier to getting clubs back up again. I mean, if you lost 5 players from this year's team, or 5 or 6, or you had some guys move on, there's no Colts to come through to get 0 points anymore. And I can see the points system, while a good idea in theory, and certainly done some good stuff over the years, I can see that being a real barrier to struggling teams all of a sudden being rejuvenated. Like your lads might have some mates who lived in Adelaide who might want to come up in a car every week, but if they're too many points, you just can't do that. Is that a fair call or not?
Yeah, it probably is, but I think that at the same time there's probably a reasonable onus on each of the independent clubs as well to try and get a Colts team together, and it's becoming more and more difficult.
It is.
And the fact it's been brought back to under 14s has made it even harder, because there is no 15, 16, 17 year olds that make they're -1 points if they come up and play as well. So I still think there's an onus on all 7 of the football clubs to at least try and get something potentially for next year to rejuvenate it. What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It is pretty hard, like you said, with that age group. There's a lot of lads that sort of don't make it in the Big Six sort of league, and they don't really have nothing to fall back on. And with that age gap where it's only limited to 14 years of age, you've got 15, 16 year olds that can play good footy, which would certainly make the independent clubs a lot stronger around, to certainly help out for the Colts side.
Definitely.
So compared to 2 years ago, when they had up to under 16s, certainly the competition was pretty strong with every club pretty much. So
and you could drag that young fella out
if you
were short.
That's right. You just can't do that now.
That's right.
I don't know.
No worries. Well, we'll get into the ins and outs for this week. We've only got the 3 independent games, no Riverland games this week. It's the competition wide bye, so just the 3 games. So I'll do the first one, Mitch, between Ramco and Steve's Cobby side. And the ins for Ramco are Jamie O'Callaghan, which is a huge pickup for the Roosters. Big ruckman coming back into the team from up north, and Chris Rademski's come across from Udunda. I'm not sure of his credentials, but Udunda is that's not a weak team by any standard. So out this week though, the 2 Hart brothers, Luke and Nathan, and Blake Watkins. So they won't be at full strength, but they'll be reasonably strong still. And for Cobby, we just go through your ins there, Steve. Reece Dunn and Ivan Maynard. Can you tell me a little bit about those boys?
Yeah, well, Ivan, he's one of the older players in the team. His son Tyson played at the beginning of this year, but unfortunately with a neck injury put him out for the rest of the season. And to Ivan's credit, put his hand up, and sort of guys like that you would have a lot of respect for. That are quite happy to come out and play and make up numbers for us. And
that's great.
He's just a great player for us. And Reece Dunn, he's been injured the last couple of weeks with a bit of a foot injury, but fingers crossed, hopefully he comes back out this week and comes out for a run, which is good to have Reece back as well.
Definitely. And the outside, we've got Jason Goodfellow, John Hunter, Garen Jenke and Matt Thomas. Some pretty handy guys there too. Yeah,
well, Jason Goodfellow, he's actually got work commitments down in Adelaide, so he's one of our travellers. John Hunter, well, unfortunately for us, it's his birthday this weekend, so he's got other plans. And Garen Jenke, well, he plays state lawn bowls, so he's basically going to Melbourne to play lawn bowls, and wish him all the best for that.
Hopefully the boys can get behind him.
Yeah.
Very good. We'll get some tips, Mitch?
Ramco have been the dark horses, haven't they, this year? We didn't really expect that much from them, and they've had a really strong season. So even though I'm sitting next to Steve, I'm going to have to tip Ramco, mate.
Fair enough.
Yeah, we sort of didn't really know what to expect, and maybe to push for the top four, but I'll tell you what, Barry's got them ticking along pretty nicely down there at the moment, and they give our boys a touch up a few weeks back. So yeah, sorry Steve, but Ramco for me as well, mate.
No worries.
And obviously Cobby though.
Definitely.
Excellent.
For an upset. Now the next game, we have traditional rivals. We have Paringa versus Lurup, and Paringa's going to host Lurup. We'll go through Lurup, the travellers first. I've got Matty Recchia and Tyson Stowers in, and we haven't got any outs at this stage. Paringa, we've got ins from Ben Gudgeon, Travis Rowbotham, is that?
Yeah, I think.
Wade Simpson, Ryan White. We've got a really big in this week, which is the coach Nick Dillon. So massive in there.
Well, let's hope not. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. At this stage, it's looking like it.
And outs, we've got some good players: Dwayne Angel, Zach Fran, James McGrath, James Patterson, Pete Siddle from Renmark, a really good player. Joel Watson as well, and John O'Wood, maybe the best of the whole bunch. So, gee, Nick, you've got some pretty serious outs there, mate.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, copped a few injuries on the weekend. A couple of serious ankle injuries, and then just a couple of blokes away as well. In addition to everyone else, so we've got 19 on the unavailable list this weekend, which is making it pretty tough. But we're just going to have to keep soldiering on. Hopefully, in the next few weeks we'll get a few back. So
you'll be earning your big bucks this week, Dillon, in the coach's box, won't you, Steve?
That's for sure.
I'm going to tip the Lions though.
Yeah, after playing Lurup last week, very quality side with Travis Wilson and Tyson Lindsay and Stevie Raider, but yeah, I'd have to go Lurup.
Yeah, no, fair enough. I'm going to back my boys in. We're in for a tough one, but hopefully we can get through it unscathed. That's the wish for this weekend. So
good luck.
No worries.
Hope so.
Yeah. Last game of the round, Wonka versus Brownswell. Now Wonka have got Nathan Brown back, which is a huge in for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
And this kid can seriously play, and he's at Wonka or at independent level, he's. Mitch, you spoke about it earlier, he's probably up there with Tyson Lindsay as one of the top players in the competition. Yeah. So, massive boost for Wonka. That's if he gets cleared this week. They'll be trying their best, I'd imagine, to get him over the line, and no outs at this stage. But for Brownswell, they've got Pat Flavel, Jock McNeil, Tate Sharman, and Bryce Victor back into the side that give us a 15-goal pumping last week. So some big ins there, but also James Figueroa, Paul Kinnaird, and Mark McConnell, so some big outs, so that they're continuing to rotate their team around. Steve, you would have seen both these teams play. What do you thoughts there?
Well, Brownswell, when we travelled up there a few weeks back, they had a lot of youngsters in the side and still managed to give us a pretty good touch up. Yeah. They're a very quality side at the moment, pretty much setting the benchmark in the independent league, and yeah, basically I couldn't go past Brownswell for that game.
Yeah. Nick, who are you going for, mate?
Yeah, definitely Brownswell. I mean, we watched them last week, and the scoreline probably didn't reflect the true outcome of the game. I think but they were still very good and well drilled too. And with those guys coming back, I think that they're going to be pretty hard to beat for the whole year. So yeah, Brownswell for me.
And look, this is my roughie of the year.
Oh, here we go.
Wonka.
Yeah.
Had a chat to Mick Durden during the week, and just got a feeling they might pull one out of the hat here, so I'm going to go for the Dogs.
Ooh, massive call.
Massive upset.
Huge. No worries. Just lastly, before we finish up, congratulations to the Riverland Sepsizer footy team, which finished equal championship winners down there in Division 2 in Adelaide last week. So well done to Pete Saff as a coach and the boys down there, and to Connor Blackwell from Renmark, who was picked in the state team to go down to Geelong soon. So well done to Connor, Pete and the boys for that effort. So that's it from us for this week. Thanks Steve for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Steve, hopefully the boys do well on the weekend, and good luck for the rest of the season as well, mate.
No worries, thank you very much.
Anyways, that's it from us. Thanks.
Princess kept us you.